Fire of Hearts for Truth. It's Thursday, 28th, 2026. And I got to give this warning, and I hope that this is the last warning I need to give, and that I will finally feel freed, and I will no longer be a part of technology, and I'm gonna retreat. I think God's gonna let me. I think it's over. I think this last death attempt or the torture was enough for them to see they can't kill me in a normal way. They're gonna have to hang me or cut my head off. Lethal injection's not gonna work. So guess what? As a child, you shouldn't have been injecting testosterone and stuff in me and trying to make me into some kind of android. Or those androgynous chicks. You sick fucks. Now I'm gonna get raw here, so you might want to leave. Why don't you click off? Or call it in, I don't give a fuck, because guess what? Mark my words. By September 1st, most of the west side of the Mississippi will be burnt to a crisp, if not just fully devastated. Everyone, if they can't get out of the country or another area, we're going to be all shoved over here. We are being flooded in Michigan. I mean, we're talking substantial uptick. At this point, I see Ann Arbor to Detroit, down to Toledo, just one big city, and then there's got the border. It's one of the main transports of human stuffs, human remains and stuff. Really, it's really actually the end of the road for a lot of people. A lot of dead body removals and disposals and transports. But that doesn't matter, because in 3 months, more than half our country is going to be gone. The enemy has taken over, and the enemy has been in place for a very long time. And that's speaking of other government powers making America their puppet for copious amounts of money, and to keep the flow of human trafficking completely flowing well. They need it. They can't flourish like they have without it. That's why abortions are a really touchy subject, but it's for more reasons than not. Is that even just the act of an abortion is a form of a sacrifice to the devils. This is not to lay any guilt or shame on girls that have aborted. I understand it's been indoctrinated in our society as a preventative measure. Most women don't want to keep a baby from a rape, but there's other alternatives to aborting. If you are solidly pregnant and there doesn't appear to be any deformities of any nature and things are going well, and it's from a rape or some other inconceivable situation, there's probably a healthy couple that could be found that can raise your child. But see, our hormones, and if we're already in abuse, and chances are if we were raped or something, we're probably not in the most best family network, because we would be taking care of ourselves better. So, if you come from exploiters and abusers, there's just a lot more going on, so you don't need to heap more guilt and shame on yourself for an abortion. Okay? God forgives you. I forgive you. It's part of life. I mean, I could go into some nitty details here. Do I need to go into how I've, maybe I do need to. Because of my blood type, it can be a little tricky with a mate, but if it's the right blood type, yikes, probably gonna get pregnant more, okay? But the thing is that, I navigated well enough that didn't happen. But there was a really questionable time in my life, and I probably did hurt myself. But it was such a terribly horrible situation to get impregnated into, and this was after my son. And complete, like, I mean, this is hard to do this, like, because it was in the middle of, like, a kind of a breakdown. The courts were abusing us. That's like 27 years ago or whatever, and it's still as bright as day. Because it was all so disgusting. They were forceful and aggressive. And I thought I was pregnant a couple more times, and I used pennyroyal because they were so evil. And I was forced. And in the minute my period was late, if I knew I was or not, I did the pennyroyal. So I really went in the toilet over that, because I literally did persecute myself for that, but yet I was violated. So that just shows how quacked out I was. Okay, so back on topic. Abortions, just as a flamboyant, crazy night at the club, it's not excusable. You play, you pay. And you better figure out how to love that life inside of you. And if it doesn't seem like you can, I think you can manage 9 months of a job to keep the baby healthy and then hand it over to a healthy couple that can't conceive. Steer away from the gay couples. There's too many that wanted babies. I don't know what's up with that. I never saw that coming. I thought they just wanted to live their little weird lifestyle and leave the children out of it, but apparently not. So that all went downhill. I was just trying to keep my kid out of juvie. So So 3 months, by September 1st, most of, if not all, the West Coast has been completely devastated. So if you're not packing up and leaving now, I don't know what to tell you. I already said if you guys have money, it'd probably be good to hop out of here for a while. Find a little bit of a stable area geographically. Or can you manage to go inland and deal with a few tsunamis or something on the coast? Something like that, I would suggest. Then a lot of those places, there's like a volcano in the backyard too. I mean, I don't know. I guess if you love your home, you stay at your home. I never felt like this was my home. So I come from a different perspective. My home is with my father, so anywhere that I dwell is where I lay my head, but it's not necessarily my home. Does that make sense? I know life is fleeting, unpredictable, and I've seen God just whip me out of places. Okay? So, whisk me out of places. So while everyone sits in their little talk rooms and talk show hosts, and we're talking in circles, and none of the people that worked for the government or worked in the military want to organize a standing army for America, for the people living here. So they're of no use because they all have sponsorships, just like the churches are no use, most of them. So God's clearing the field, and there'll be little stragglers left somewhere in little dispersed spots. But meantime, I think Michigan below, well, goodness, the way they're coming in, they're going to flood the north, too. Which we know was happening, Traverse City and stuff. But then the levee broke, and I don't know if they even fixed the levee. There's a thing with the Traverse Bay there. Well, this will teach us about technology and industrialization for the last time. If anything else. If anything else. If it's not the full end and destruction, it will teach us, it will teach the people of the lands one last time where they should stop. Like when they should stop drilling and fracking and abusing Mother Earth. Just that alone. We won't get into all the deaths and genocides and rapes. And I guess it is conclusive. It's very much so a colonialist trait. But then I know that the Mongolians way back when had a really bad run. But not all the Mongolians. It was like the one bad band or whatever. So June, July, August, I'd say make the best of it that you possibly can. Or in a ship. Just get out of here. Get out of there like they are. Whoa, man. West side of the Mississippi. It's all right almost on target, on clock that I was saying just some weeks back or months. The only thing that's not correct is I said there was going to be a cross. Maybe that the fracture by the Mississippi would be so pronounced or crooked to some degree, but the idea of a cross, but that maybe that's what happened underneath, and the water's being sucked through some kind of change with geographical. There was rumor or theory that back in 2010 or somewhere near there, that the internal core of the Earth reversed. So that would technically, could potentially, I'm not a geologist, I'm not an expert, just intuitive, could very well, if something is reversed internally in the Earth, and that's all very precious, and then you're fracking and you're exploding and you're cutting and you're seizuring, but then there was a reverse. And when I think about it, everything in our lives, the evil on us really upticked, but it's always been upticking on us. So would you just be leaving for 3 months, Heather, and then coming back? Potentially, if you want to come back and see a desolate wasteland, there's going to be plenty of other continents living and flourishing. Because you know why? Because they weren't doing pre-planned genocides for multiple centuries.